Hey guys, welcome back to another episode on the Corner Flag Talk Podcast. It's your boy John, and we're back here for game week 2 of football has returned. We are now entering the last week of the transfer. We're not ending, we are in the last week of the transfer window, and as such, we're gonna do the regular wrap up today of the weekend's actions and even some side stuff. And then the second half of the pod is that we're gonna do one player each team should try to sign before the end of the window. So to do all that with me, I have Virgil. Uzi, was again, my guy.
Bro, I'm just tired, but football is a must.
Correct is right. I have Brandon. Brandon, was he good?
I'm good. As you all can see, we figured out the backgrounds.
Did somebody hold the door for you today in work, bro?
Nah, boy. Nobody today.
Silver is dead. And then we have Daniel. Pats, was he good, my guy?
Today,
I like how all of y'all have our background, you know. That's good. And
What do you mean, though? That's Virgil House.
and then we just
I just
throwing
read-
him in the
I
mixer.
just reached home.
We have the
must have
kill.
come over there.
The kill, was he good, my guy?
I'm cool. How are you good?
We are recorded, by the way.
I realize.
Yeah. So because they're here, we gotta start with United because who knows how long we gotta actually have you here for.
Uh,
So the kid, glad to have you back, bro. We were asked by I am not joking, 4 different people asked when we go in and actually have a United rep on the show. And
I
so,
think as a bad rep, I don't think I have the same thoughts as general.
and so yeah. What was your overarching view of the first 2 games in general, but more so the game at the weekend versus Brighton?
In general, I feel like United. No, I feel like United fans just crash out on both sides of the spectrum. It's either the all in on Ten Hag or the anti Ten Hag. I think that we started okay for the first game. We started relatively well. I think that for the most part, what he tried to implement was executed. Yes, it has flaws in it, but I think for the most part we did well in that game. That was a stark comparison to what I think happened in the Brighton game, especially in second half. I feel like we executed what we wanted to, for the most part, in how we press and the cohesion and stuff was good. But in second half, as with majority of tenure, it was a total capitulation in second half, and yeah, kind of unexplainable. Well, not unexplainable, but it's kind of typical for a tenor team right now.
Fair enough. Salik, actually, forget Salik. Daniel, after the game this weekend, you said that you think Garnacho needs to start left wing, Rashford to start some games in strike, right wing, bench, but Garnacho needs to start going forward.
Well, I mean,
What
that
is the
kind
reason?
of that was like a summarized thing of the thought. But hey, we kind of come down to right. United is clearly a team that wants to play in transition. Okay, that's the first thing. I think they did so pretty well on the day. I think they did so well on the opening day as well. That being said, though, if you're gonna play a game based on transition, then um, having decisive people in the final third are probably more important than anywhere else on the field for you, right? And all that basically goes to say is that I think Garnacho, if we don't count Bruno Fernandes as part of the front three, I think Garnacho is maybe their best final third player. He makes good decisions. His shooting is perhaps the best out of that front three as well. And he has shown that he is able to probably score the most goals out of everyone in that front three. That being said, if I'm going to say that he is their best player in the front three, please take the best player and put him in the starting 11 first of all. That would be nice, and then put him in the position that he's most comfortable in, and then everyone else just has to react off of that. Rashford is no longer that guy at United, and shouldn't really be treated as such anymore. So I think in some games he will make a fantastic striker for United. Where the rules could just be a bit more right for him. I think other games might be nice off the right if Ahmad ever dips back out of form. And then other games just maybe they just don't start. But all that being said, I think Garnacho is the most decisive front player right now. He's fantastic. He's fantastic. Good after, you know.
I don't know what's going on with your mic there. Well, that was just me, but you sounded a little muffled though.
Oh,
Anybody
sure.
else here kind of muffled, or that
Yeah,
was
you
just me?
sound kind of muffled to me too.
Alright, hold on. Is this better?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hey, man.
much better.
Okay.
Big
Drop
up
my
Virgil
shade over.
name though.
Man, buy a
I
mic,
respect
boy.
the truth. I respect the truth there, Virgil. That's a
Facts.
real nice name you have there.
Wait, what? Wait, that's not. I feel like
Hey, I didn't know I had all that power.
I know what to say, dog. Dog, one man shouldn't have all this power, you know. Like, let's come on. Let's be real.
I'll raise up with this just now. Start a pathetic in edited after, but
Oh,
Brandon,
okay.
I mean, you also share some sentiments as well, right? Of what to do with Rashford going forward because obviously Garnacho seems too impactful to leave on the bench. Ahmad actually scored at the weekend, can't really drop him after that. You know, both that and the couple with the fact that they spend close to 120 million on strikers. Where does this leave Mancunian born Marcus Rashford?
Yeah, bro, that seems to be the how much it is, 400,000 pound a week question. Because
Mm-hmm.
we just don't know what to do with him. It's very hard. It's very difficult to drop your so-called best player. And but the thing is, Rashford hasn't done it for a while, and I think it might be beneficial to him if he got dropped. The problem is that he's going to play one of his favorite opponents in the next game in a huge game. So if any time you need Rashford to come good, it would be a game like that. So the problem Ten Hag has, particularly for the next game, is that does he make the big call and drop Rashford because Rashford against Liverpool is always a good bet, and he needs his best players to win that game. They've already lost against Brighton. They should not have lost against Brighton. And for Rashford, if there's any time for him to do it, it would be then. But I think if he doesn't do anything after that, I can see him getting benched for Garnacho. Unless he plays through the middle, and I don't see that happening.
Yeah, and I mean, the key. Do you think that like this is where when we did our predictions, why it is that I had United below everybody else that I had, right? And it's because we talking about the fact that United created a bunch of chances in these first two games, that they spend money on forwards, they have Rashford or whatever else. But when I compare their attacking power, and like when we get to Chelsea, we'll talk about that as well. Like United's firepower just ranks that much lower to me than everybody else now. And it's not for a lack of investment, it's not even for a lack of players, but it's for a lack of surety of execution in the final third. And I think with the inconsistencies that we've seen from Rashford over the last few seasons, you're not sure which version of him you're going to get. You have Garnacho now breaking through. Ahmad yet to establish himself. Two strikers who have yet to prove themselves as high-end goal scorers. There's a lack of surety of execution in the final third right now. What do you feel about that?
I feel like United just in a place where no, I mean I would have mentioned this before, but I think United fans need to understand that hey, in the position we're in right now, you're going to bounce up these games, you're gonna bounce up these spells where United not going to convert purely based on like we're seeing the level of attack that we have right now. The only two players to me that and again it's gonna sound weird, but even in Rashford bad form, either Rashford or Bruno has to be on the field for me. There's no
Right.
United that should not have like Bruno Fernandes mainly, but also Marcus Rashford because I mean I get what Daniel was saying, but Garnacho is very inconsistent. And I mean Rashford is not in a place where I could fight for him right now as my favorite player right now. But Rashford has the propensity to score goals in big games. Rashford has the propensity to turn it on when he's ready. I don't know what's affecting him right now because he started off preseason really well. He looked very sharp. He looked like he was doing all the right things, and then came in and started the season, and it was just like another dog starting off from last season. I also think that United, to me, we genuinely missing Hoyland. We've been creating chances. I mean, I don't think creating chances for the last two games was the problem. It's more so the ability to maintain it or even convert the chances that we get in. Because I feel like we create a good amount of chances and a lot of them should have been converted. It's just that we haven't been finishing our food really. But I do think if we include Hoyland in this team, we'd look much better. Probably not
Mhm.
defensively in the last 15 minutes, but that's a whole other story. And yeah,
Well, guys, if you had to guess how many goals that United have conceded in the 90 odd plus minute, right? Before Ten Hag came in, how much you think that number is?
I know this number. I knew
Like
this
between
before.
the Prem, between when the Prem start to
Crazy.
Ten Hag take over, how much all you think it is?
2.
90 plus winners.
So
You so
I
boring, dog, because you knew the answer. The answer is 2. But all
Is
you
it
want to
really?
guess, yes, but Sally
really
can't answer now. How much you all want to guess? It has been posted Hag being in charge.
it's all.
All is
See, say
crazy.
all.
All is crazy.
How much times have they considered a 90 plus winner? Since Ten Hag has been in charge. How much you think it is?
I'll go in at 5.
Virgil.
Nah, United. Nah, I can't say like 8. Yeah. How much time is it?
The answer is actually 6. 6
Damn.
times.
No,
Twice in 28 years before that, 26 years, some shit like that. And then 6 times in 2 and a bit seasons. That is crazy. And which brings us to the last point in this game is that you all pointed out in your pre recording notes that transition was a big issue with this. Is it that Ugarte is really the answer to solve all this, or is it a bit deeper than that? Virgil, you want to take this one?
And for the year, I say like for that, we're gonna look at us and say, okay, this new signing coming in, this exciting signing, and we'll say he could be the solution to United, he could be the bandit over the problems. But bro, I felt like you seeing this, the first thing come to my head is when Casemiro came in, people was like, okay, they're talking about United problems. This man will come in and be the solution. But let's be real. I feel like I understand, like hater side, like I kind of understand the position United in. So we shouldn't keep saying, okay, this person going to come in now and solve any problems because things like what happened on the weekend is going to happen again. If that didn't happen, we would have a whole different conversation. And we can't say, okay, well, there's this one person coming in because there's some, we know he's still young, he's still inexperienced. The community United side and be anything that is considered, and to be anything that is considered a solution for United because we're talking about that's a big thing to say. So I honestly feel like, yeah, he will come in and he'll probably add something for the manager to use, add a different dimension, add to the tactics. But to say it's going to be a solution, nah, if we want to say that, we're going to get disappointed and we're going to be back having this conversation again.
I'm gonna say something here. The kill you gonna answer, and I'm gonna let everybody just get a chance to add to it after, right? We spoke about this a few times today
Say
in the
no
group.
more.
By the way, plug if you all want to join the CFT community and get to contribute to the talk and to the podcast, please say so. You get to join. Also, lovely background. Yeah, it has been cited a few times that Ten Hag is not a possession or control manager, right? But to what extent is the dial just too much in one direction compared to the other? And do you think that Ugarte solves that? Is this a personnel thing? Like just simple thing as wrestling control back when the opposite team has momentum seems to be an issue. How is that solved? Is it solved by bringing somebody, or is this a tactical thing?
It's a little bit of both because when you consider, I feel like there's a lot of managers are guilty of this, and Ten Hag also has that propensity where he doesn't know how to set the team up to just keep the ball, whether it be stopping on an extra midfielder, just packing midfield, somebody who to keep the ball, but also in that we don't have the personnel to execute to even understand, well, all right, we need to keep the ball for the next 10 minutes, just keep the ball. We're not gonna try to over aggressively attacking manner we try to do or do these transitions all the time. So for example, like United love this transition football, so you invite the pressure, you try to play through it, and then you try to move very fast, diagonal out to the wings, and then let your your attacking players attack the defense, right? But United have this problem where when you distribute it to Casemiro or Mainu, neither of them could, at a very high clip, distribute the ball, which allows for stuff like transitions being broken down, giving back the other team the ball when they already have momentum. And it's like, I mean, Casemiro is a crash out player, bro. Like, this man, I don't think he have the gene to understand. All right, we don't need to try to like ping some 90-yard
Hollywood pass.
diagonal to Rashford.
Yeah.
No, we could just keep the ball, send it out wide, go back, and just retain the ball for a little bit. No, he just like to get and kick. And even when he does that, it's not to say like he's going to do it with some high level of accuracy. Sometimes you just kick and it's be like, just why? So I think it's a little bit of both. Right now, I would lean to say it's a personal thing because, sorry, let me rephrase that. Right now, I would say we don't have the personnel to be able to do it, regardless of if Ten Hag tried. But he needs to, as the manager, you need to figure out ways to find solutions. And as of right now, he doesn't have the solution for that without the personnel able to do it in the first place.
As we see by Dickie's name, he is Ten Hag out after all that. Brandon, you have anything to add to that? Daniel, floor kind of open before we move on to Chelsea.
I just want to add that I actually think Ugarte will be a very good signing for United. And I think that Ten Hag is never going to be a manager that we all like, because I feel like everybody has something that they don't like about him. So I don't know. I feel like at this point he just
you
has to
like
let
him?
it play out and see. I mean, last season I kind of did, because I find his substitutions last season were pretty good, but I find this season they haven't been that great. But I don't know if that's
I
because
mean,
it's now the start of the season, and
I
because this has
know-
happened for the past three seasons, yeah. Like this has
Yeah.
happened every single season for the start of the game. I think they lost their first away game of the season in the past 3 seasons, and that is crazy. Like, you had to
I
start
can't remember
strong.
how they started season last year. They lost away to
Last year
Spurs
was-
second game. Yeah, they did.
I would like to say I'm
Um,
a Ten Hag fan.
Yeah, that's unfair. I don't go.
And you bring up subs, right? And we didn't even talk about the fact that they were 1-1, and he subbed Bruno in it. Like, now we reached a point where subbing Rashford seems like acceptable, right? We kind of gone past the point where it feels shocking. But the Bruno sub completely obliterated my skull log. Like, that to me was waving the white flag before like that day game, you know? Yeah,
Bro,
go ahead and Brandon,
even-
Daniel. Go ahead and
No, yeah, I
Nikhil,
mean-
before Daniel talk.
No, well, I was gonna say, like, bro, even to the point you was making just now, I feel like in a team where they're not able to keep the ball at a high clip, in that position that we were in, right? Bruno is actually collecting very deep and actually holding up the ball first. So at some level, right? At some level,
So
I wish I got a picture of that.
so here it is, right? Here it is, right? You're going to remove that before I add you back. Fatso, you go ahead and say, boy.
But that one hit my physics.
Oh my goodness.
What,
Dog.
what I was basically gonna say was first of all, look at him, a good car try to up.
Yeah, we hear you much
Yeah,
better now.
we hear
Yeah.
you good.
Alright, cool, man. John, I don't know if you got a chance to look at the notes that I
I
sent.
did. No, I did.
I sent it last minute, but I had an answer, not the answer, but my own version of an answer to the whole United Casemiro issue. And this is where I coming from, right? The squad is set. Okay, you can't go into the season. I mean, unless they were to sign someone else, you can't go into the season with Declan Rice, for example, or Chouameni, for example. No, the team that you have is the team that you have, and that's the team that you're about to to enter the season with. Casemiro is probably their only good number 6. And with that being said, yes, he has a lot of limitations, but you have to find a way to either play with him or use someone else that's part of the squad. But all that leading up to say is that in finding a solution, you need to find something that's realistic, something that works for the team at hand, right? And what I'm trying to lead up to say is that I don't think that the solution is quote unquote personnel based. I think it's more systematic when it comes to how United are going to defend. And to summarize it all, I honestly feel like the answer is in the WM. Um, you if he can find a way to implement a WM style or WM shape to pay a little bit more emphasis on their rest defense, because I personally think that their rest defense is the downfall of that team right now. Most of the times when you look at the shape and transition, it's Casemiro on an island with maybe the two centre backs behind him, and oftentimes the fullbacks are both pushed high at the same time, which is fine if you want to be really aggressive, attacking wise, or really aggressive in the final third. But United don't keep the ball enough in the final third to justify being that aggressive. So I honestly feel like the WM will help Casemiro a bit more as to who could play that inverted role. I mean, is that interesting? But I actually think Lissandro would be fine for that. I think he has the tenacity that suits a partner for Casemiro there. And if I was to ask you a question, right? If a team were on the counter versus your team, John, Arsenal, where would you want the ball to ideally end up, given that the team is on a counter? Okay, out wide, right? Out wide, right? You don't
Yeah.
want someone running
Yeah.
straight at your goal, right? Okay,
Correct.
so
Yeah.
and that's the strength of the WM. There's essentially 5 guys on rest defense clogged up in the middle. The ball has no choice but to be funneled out wide, and once it goes wide, then the team can shift. It gives enough time for the Fernandez and Rashford and the non-ball dominant winger to get back and make a bit of a makeshift back four, maybe with Garnacho if the ball breaks down the right side or whatever that may be. But all that is to say that, I mean, if we were to play the numbers game here and accept that United are going to see a lot of counter attacks against them this season, well, how could we at least make the situation a bit better for ourselves? Okay, well, let's funnel the ball out wide and then try to defend and at least squeeze in a particular area from there. But at the moment, it's all mayhem. Like I can't remember how many times Brighton were able to, with João Pedro, were able to just cut right down the middle. And granted, Brighton is a good team in transition, but still, that's unacceptable. The system has to change. I personally feel like if I were given the job, again, I'm not a manager, so my whole points may be null and void. But if I were given the job, the WM would be one of the first things that I try to revert to, just to bring back some stability to the team. And that's not a personal issue. That's just a tactical tweak. Not even a whole change, just a tweak.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I mean it's just a case of, look, when we look at Maresca, we look at somebody else was what a coach coming this season, boy. Slot, yeah, that we already seeing things that they implement and going forward, whereas we still asking tactical questions about Ten Hag. And I think that in itself is something. And it doesn't matter that if we think is the right or the wrong way, there's still questions of what the identity is, both in and out of possession. But speaking about Maresca, we go straight across to Chelsea as they won 6-2. And they did the most like black and white thing ever of looking like they were about to choke everything in the first half and then went on a taste streak in the second half with a streak of unbelievable finishing, mostly led by Madueke, but also pitched in by Cole Palmer, whose goal I thought was exceptional. Jackson and João Felix. So, can't start in us, but Brandon, how different was your feelings in the first half compared to the second half?
Well, bro, the first half was so frustrating because I thought we played well, and then the problem was that we just kept letting Wolves come back and getting back at us. The best way I could describe it, fair, is like we hit them early, and then they didn't want to lose. Like it became like urgent to them immediately, so they just started attacking and trying to get the better of us early. And then as soon as the second half started, you could see the difference. It looked like we had all the intent in the world. And as soon as the first goal went in, everybody was like, okay, right, nice, that's good. And then the second one went in, we were like, great, we won the game. And then he scored the hat trick, and I was like, wow, we just peppering them for no reason. We just scoring at will. This is what we dreamt of. This is everything that the ownership has told us we will expect. And we saw it in front of our eyes. So I think it was just a great game on the whole for us. I think this is probably the best game I've seen from a Chelsea team in the last 3 years. It was great. And in terms of everything you wanted to happen, everything went as perfectly as it could go. You had one of our winger after the whole Sterling debacle. We had Madueke scoring. We had Palmer, who didn't do anything against City, and he got 3 assists and a goal in that game. We had our new signing, returning player, João Felix, getting on the score sheet. Neto assisting him. Renato Vega came on and looked pretty good. Sanchez actually did have a long ball, and everybody was like, wow, so this is why he plays every game. I think as a Chelsea fan,
Jackson scored too.
Yeah, Jackson scored. Can you all tell me how you would describe that Jackson goal? It starts with a P.
Poacher.
Yeah, poacher, dog. That is exactly what it is. That is a proper poacher's goal from Jackson. And that's the thing that people criticize him for. He doesn't put away those types of chances.
Don't say people. Say Johnny Obi Mikel.
Well, yeah, true. He does. He definitely does that. But Jackson put it in. I think everything that could have gone well for us went as good as possible. Oh, so I'd like you all to say it with me. Please repeat after me. It is good.
It is good.
It is good.
That they sacked Pochettino.
Hey. But hey, I just want to reiterate what I said before, right? I mean, I think one of the key things with Chelsea, when I watch Chelsea, I watch Spurs, and to some extent Newcastle, even though they have had a shaky start this season. Like, I feel like there's so much firepower in these teams. And I mean, Chelsea is literally displaying that they have one of the best attacking options in the league. While some of it may seem unproven and stuff at various levels, they have so many goals that should come out of this team. And for all the Clong that people, Clong Jackson, he scored 40 last year. We obviously know Cole Palmer is a reliable source of output. We've seen Neto, while being injury plagued, has put up numbers in this league once he is fit, as well as all the other attacking additions that they have there. They have goals in this team. And when I watch them compared to some of the others, I just think that, as we saw on the day, I mean, Salih being so real, I still don't understand how they spend that much money on all their backliners, the kind of players that they have. But they have the attacking talent to outscore these teams. And you know what it reminds me of to some extent? Not all the way, but to some extent. And I mean, we're only 2 games in, right? But like when Spurs Conte had beat us to get in the top 4, right? It wasn't because they were all that defensively or all that in midfield or whatever, but they had 2 of the best attackers in the league between Son and Keane, and they were on smoke. And when you're trying to get top 4, at that level, goals could do so much to cover up your sins, And I think that Chelsea has the quality and the ceiling to see that come to pass, And I mean, we see Cole Palmer prove it already. We see Jackson to some level prove it already. And in addition to those 2, you have enough talent around them that should be able to prove it too. That should see them go pretty far this season. Virgil, do you have anything to say?
Honestly, for Chelsea, because from what Brandon mentioned and like how the game played out, this is something with Chelsea we could always say that these things will happen, and Chelsea will look good in these games. So right now, we just don't know what game week 3 going to hold for Chelsea. It might be a case of Chelsea might use all the firepower in this one game, and then next week they come with a blank. Or they might just use this as motivation right now and continues scoring, having some high scoring games against some other teams. So right now for Chelsea, they are at that point where we just right now is waiting to see what's going to happen. And as I mentioned,
It's not like
Chelsea side,
it would be the most
Yeah.
unforgivable thing if they go on and score six and then score none next week. Yeah, that
Nah,
is
bro,
the
we play
most
Palace at
unforgivable.
home, bro. Not gonna happen.
Oh, fair enough.
but right
Palace
now for
losing everybody
Chelsea,
too, apparently.
yeah,
Palace
yeah,
lost the two starters at the backs. Like, what is going on?
with the Anderson and Gay confirmed.
Well, Anderson gone, and it
Yeah.
seems like he's a Palace getting there. But, like, I don't understand. Like, they get excited, coach, and they lost all these. They lost, and they losing. They two sets of backs. So that's crazy. And it's not like to say they start the season well either. Eh? They lost both games.
Yeah. I want to say just a wrap up with Chelsea. Honestly, right now it could go either way, but I feel like how they're playing right now, the confidence is there that they could continue. Like they could continue and they could push forward because attack is something that for Chelsea I feel like it's very difficult to question it. I feel. Any single time you talk question that we always come down to Poch being one of the talking points.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, feel like right now for Chelsea, I feel like it's a big confidence boost for them.
Um, Daniel, going forward, what do you think the midfield should be for Chelsea?
I think it's a day-to-day basis, to be honest. I think Maresca have one of the easiest jobs in the world right now, where he has so many players that could suit so many different styles of play. He gets to pick and choose depending on how he wants to set up for specific opponents. For example, if they were to play Ipswich in the morning, I see no problem for him to go with a double pivot of Caicedo and Dewsbury Hall, and then something like, front four, Nkunku, Felix, Palmer, Madueke. I don't know, something like that. Okay, maybe not them, but you know what I mean. It
Mm-hmm.
depends on the team. It depends on the team. If he feels like
Fair enough.
playing City in the morning and they need to bolster the midfield with three guys that could really, get stuck in, then by all
Mm-hmm.
means, and he have the players to do that too. So it really depends. Sorry to give you a non-answer, but
This is fine. Tikili, anything you want to add to it?
Now I feel like Chelsea in a place where, like you say, they could rattle off six, and then I feel like next week they could just as well score no goals, not creating anything. It's a weird place to be in, and as
Trust
well as
and believe, dog. There will be like 5 million extremely upset FPL managers who would have brought in various Chelsea assets this week if they ever go and no score none in it.
yeah, I mean, there's a possibility, especially as Daniel say, like they have real options, but I feel like with so many options, like the want to tweak is also there, and that could cause a problem in like continuity, especially with so much players, so much young players. Maresca had to find the balance of the keeping our team not playing well and wanting to switch based on just him having the option to change it if he wants to.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Cool. Nice. The last big hitter game that we have here is the Villa versus Arsenal game. And to start that off, I'm going to go back to you, Patrick. And first off, with the lineup, you said that you felt very impressed by Timber being it. First time he started since he got injured last year against Nottingham Forest. What is that really impressed you so much about him being in the team compared to like Zinchenko or Tomiyasu or something?
bro, first of all, it's the thing that really stood out for me is the center back dealing with back pressure. Like that is not common for center backs. Center backs don't typically have to deal with back pressure. Pressure coming
Mm-hmm.
from behind them. Well, my thing blurred right now, but I'm pointing behind my back right now.
Yeah, don't worry.
To give the visual cue to the audience. Anyway, yeah, no, that was one of the main things that stood out to me. A centre back looking comfortable dealing with back pressure is almost like a gem these days. And that makes him really suitable, I think, for what Arteta is trying to do. Obviously, he's playing more in the midfield than any of the other centre backs. prior to the start of the season, I honestly thought that Timber was just going to be a backup for White because I thought that Calafiori was going to be a shoe in. But after that game in particular, because Aston Villa is no slouch as well, right? After that game, now I realize, okay, have a battle on that side now. But it
Mm-hmm.
could be Timber, it could be Calafiori. I mean, in my opinion, when Calafiori came on, he played different. He played good, but different. I don't know how comfortable he will be in the midfield like Timber. Calafiori stayed more out wide, if you understand what I'm saying. I understand
Mm-hmm.
that he came on and play well, but for what Arteta is trying to do, I don't know if he could do what Timber is doing. Timber looks so comfortable on the ball. Calafiori does not. Again, no diss to Calafiori, but Timber looks really, really good on the ball. And that's why he got Zinchenko in the first place. It's just so unfortunate that Zinchenko is not a good athlete. You know what I mean? But Timber is. So I really feel like there's a battle on that side now between Calafiori and Timber. I have no idea who is going to come out on top. Again, I understand Calafiori played well. He looks really good, but different to what I think Arteta is going to be asking them to do. So that's why I was mostly impressed with Timber. I didn't have high hopes for him coming into the season, but that was a really, really positive performance from him, I would say.
I think like the main thing for me in on this particular topic is like one like the thing is one of the many things I take away from Pep is that like, bro, we go in and see somebody being the 11 today, and then like 2 weeks from now it'll be somebody else, and then 6 weeks from now, and like I think the most important thing is to like play men through form. When somebody in form, play them, and then when you see they start at the point, have somebody who ready to jump in and try and manage people's imperfections throughout the season. You know, for like 6 weeks, we'll sit down here and talk like if Doku was undroppable. Before you know it, Foden or Grealish back in. And it's the same thing, you know, like with Stones or with Akanji or Gvardiol. Gvardiol was looking like if he was away someone in the first half of last season and up being undroppable. And it's just to keep these men playing, all playing, so that coming next season everybody can contribute. Salik, what about this game impressed you the most? Because I know you said you felt like it was a really strong performance.
Yeah, I think from Arsenal, I actually think from both teams, it was a very good performance. I thought the game was a great watch. To be honest, it's
Mm-hmm.
one of those games where I think the tactical battle didn't go out the door, but it opened the door for every single thing that could have happened. I don't think either team was good defensively on the day,
Mm-hmm.
and I think
Yeah.
like going forward, there was a lot going good for both teams. It's just when it came to the final pass or the final shot, both teams were just shutting down. And I actually have a quote from one of my favorite shows, House,
It's so
and
funny that is one of your favorite shows, and that is actually one of my favorite shows.
the quote is, mistakes are as serious as the results they cause. And I say that because Watkins had two gilt-edged opportunities. If he scores the first one, that changes the game. And
Yeah.
to be fair with you, I think Saka should have scored as well. And I think that Martinez save shouldn't even be considered. That should just happen. And jeez, I don't realize. Wait, but that's the same team that beaten you though.
This is like he put City and they're taking over his town. This has no shame or pride in it, apparently.
Yeah, I also think Raya's save is being so overplayed. That is there's a terrible attempt from Watkins to try and score a goal. So if I'm being very honest with you, I think the one thing that Arteta did that won him the game was to bring on Trossard. When Trossard came on, the whole game changed. Like every
Mm-hmm.
single thing about Arsenal's play totally changed, and it was centered around him. I worked to perfection. Trossard's goal was as easy as you like, and then Thomas Partey's own I think is just bad keeping from Martinez. But at the end of the
Actually,
day,
you realize though the two goals score on his left side, and somebody
bro,
was saying that like they actually have noticed that when he have to dive to his left, it is a bit weaker. I just thought I was like this is an interesting observation. But
yeah, I never really take it in before. But I mean, now I just say that I can look at it every single game now.
every single and every
Yeah,
time he
every
got
single
strong
game.
save, I got tag saying I thought his left side was weak, boy.
No, if I can find a reason to talk about it, I will. But yeah. So apart from that, I think y'all are going into a very difficult run, and you've taken 3 points in the start of the run. I think that's
Yeah.
super important. If you're gonna
Yeah.
try, if you're going to do any kind of damage in the league this season, these are the games you need to win, and that is an excellent start.
Yeah. Totally agree. Though.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you see, there's a reason why I
Right.
put it
So
there. There's
as
a reason why I
as I
put it
was
there.
saying, right? Um. Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying, Brandon. I think like the most important thing too is like when we look back, when I look back, sorry, at our 2 games against Villa last year, right, which we lost both, right? Like the amount of chances that we had, and as you rightfully say, it only matter based on what actually comes out of it. It don't matter that you make all the chances and you don't take them. Vice versa, they got chances today that they didn't take, and we ultimately took ours in the end. And I'm glad that you bring up trust because it brings me to a very interesting point of what goes on between Martinelli and Trossard, right? Because they are the two front runners for the left wing position. And Daniel had mentioned that he feels like it's a very healthy competition. And maybe it is, right? But I think like you feel like there's more upside with Martinelli because he gives you so much at his best. But right now, it feels like there's a lot of fluctuation between the two. And while I could get on board with the fact that people say like he isn't platform the best because the left side dynamic is not all that. And while I see logic behind all that, when we play Trossard in the same dynamic, he performs. At the end of the day, he still becomes decisive. And so then now, all the excuses, or rather all the reasons, which I believe have some sound footing for Martinelli, becomes existent on thin ice then, you know? And then it becomes more about what can he do to get himself more into these areas to succeed. Because when I look at like how Trossard plays, I think one of the best things that Trossard does is that he feels out the game so well. He knows when to stay wide, when to go inside, when to run in behind, when to come deep. And like he really feels out the game well as to what the game needs him to be at that moment in time. Whereas I think that Arteta would give these instructions to the left winger, and Martelli would not apply them all at the right time. Might stay too wide when the ball comes in the box. We're building up on the right. Why are you still on the touchline on the left? And we see Trossard pop up in all these goal scoring positions. Why are we not seeing the same for Martinelli? Because Trossard and Martinelli are the two up there for me in our squad who have the best abilities to score. But yet the difference in output over the last 18 months has been radically different. So is it balance? Maybe. Because to be fair, I do think without Martinelli pushing Trossard to constantly be on his toes when he get these chances, we might not get the output we are getting. But at the same time, kind of need to see more from him because we're going into the season now and we're talking about, players to help break the game faster and all that stuff. I need more from him this season. 6 goals last year. That's not enough. We need way more than that. Now, would it big goals as how this season went along? Yeah, but you need more. We talking about somebody that scored 15 this season before. It's 15 and 6, chalk and cheese. And then that brings up a wider question of, attacking options. We only had Trossard to bring up the event yesterday. Thankfully, that was enough. Don't think that's enough going forward. Hopefully, by the end of the week, have somebody to talk about. If not, we're running it back with Nelson all over again. So we'll see how that goes. Is there anything else? Oh, Morgan Rogers, top performance. Thought he was very good.
I didn't
When
know he was a
signing,
City Academy player.
yeah, he is. He
Come
was
on.
apparently at City before Middlesbrough,
Come
Yeah,
and
on.
that's
then
crazy, done.
yeah. So hey, the graphic was right. City Academy had British all over Europe
Don't,
apparently.
don't worry, we have our eyes on him, so I just continue. We hope some good performances continue.
As we come off this game, Virgil, perception is such a funny thing, yeah. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody else had missed the kind of chances that Watkins had missed, the conversation around him would have been very different. But I guess, Watkins has some credit to the bank, right? But if,
Yep.
Saka was to miss that or Foden was to miss that, like they blow up from that, it would have been
Mm-hmm.
very different. What's your
He's
Yeah.
thoughts
a
on that?
Villa player, bro.
Nah, and even to what Brandon mentioned, we're
No, but the
looking at
thing is, they kill, right? Men out here, except City, obviously, right? For obvious reasons. Paul will call to say, like, hey, well, as soon as they play, Mr. Chance, hey, Watkins is the kind of player we need to sign. We need to sign him. We need somebody more clinical. And he's proven to score goals, right? But I guess this also proves that even the best goal scorers in the game miss chances.
Of
We all
course.
forget that, like, again, the best goal scorer in the game right now is Erling Haaland by country miles, right? Everybody remember this man missed the ball on the goal line against United last year.
yeah.
Like, I literally sky it right in front of the goal, 3 yards out. Like, the best goal scorers miss as well, too. But yeah, Virgil, good.
Yeah, because like what Brandon mentioned, like we're looking at teams like Arsenal and City, and when we see those missed chances or like those mistakes, the results of those things is something that we're looking at in the grand scheme of like, okay, we might look back to this, whether it be early on in the season, this might be in people's minds as okay, with this missed opportunity, this probably cost the title. But realistically, as high as Aston Villa is right now, I don't really feel people going to obviously pay no mind on that because we will look at that. 1 minute we'll talk about it and say, okay, Aston Villa missed some chances, hard luck for them. But then, if Watkins come back in, not even if it's not next week, week after, and just banging like two, I get a brace or hat trick, then all will be forgotten. But yeah, we're looking at these games and looking at these games, what in the grand scheme, yeah, we could have say what could have happened, but what really did happen was a battle of two of subs, and I thought to get
Yeah.
it right. I thought to throw on the main man you would need in a situation like that when you need a goal, and just so
Yeah.
happen the players that for Aston Villa they had to rely on, they can come up with the 3 points. So you gotta give credit, and this is a big game because trust me, you're looking at this game as like what happened last season, and you'll obviously say away, but this is a big hurdle that Arsenal overcame. So for a fact this out the way, you don't really have to worry about this anymore. So you have to give credit to them.
Yeah, I think, look, Pat Salik, sorry, can't write it on here about Arsenal going forward. And I think one of the things that I really need to see us address in this window before it closes is some additional attacking power. I mean, like, we was playing Villa on Saturday, right? And I was watching, like, the players at Villa could have bring off their bench. And, like, they bringing off somebody like John Duran, who literally won a game for them last week. I was coveted by a lot of teams in this league, right? And I now talk about firepower for all these other teams. While our starting level and is pretty good there, like, what behind that, I think it needs to improve. It needs so that we can also power up through games. It can't just be that the first 11 always has to decide it. We need to be able to power up through games. And so hopefully when we go into one player, each team should sign. We got here everybody say that Arsenal going to sign the reincarnation of Cristiano Ronaldo. So we get into some crickets now. I just asked everybody one team and they won like override their thought from the game this weekend. So Nikhil, won't put you on the spot for your first one. So Salik, Tottenham.
Spurs, they actually clicked this time. They look pretty good. Try and keep it very short. Son
I
is in
wanted
the
you to
group now.
say exactly where your time though. That was actually kind of
Oh, sorry.
Well, no, I kind of overhyped, but it's terrible.
Not really. Oh yeah, no, I remember what I said. Right, this is actually a good point. No Solanke, no problem. Interesting, very interesting. Scored 4 goals without Solanke. Very interesting. That's all I have to say.
And Son back in strike.
Correct.
Nice, cool. Virgil, your favorite club, Manchester City. Overriding thoughts.
Yeah, right now the ship continues to sail, so things looking good, things looking positive. It's just Ipswich.
The kill, overriding thought. Liverpool versus Brentford.
And Liverpool look really good. I just think that it's gonna
Speak up,
catch.
bro.
Sorry, I stood back. Liverpool look really good. I feel like, but new manager bounce are gonna fall.
Hey, I like that. I don't want to say you're supposed to go and just say one, but Daniel, you actually said something here kind of interesting about Liverpool. You want to just go through that for me? Or you want to say it out there or you got it?
I would love to. No, it's fine. I think I told John that in my notes that the system looks a little bit more sustainable than what Klopp managed to build over the last 2 seasons, and that is a hill that I would definitely die on. I do think the system looks much more sustainable going forward. Liverpool are controlling games in ways that they haven't done with Klopp. Granted, Klopp's whole mentality was different. A lot more counter pressing with Klopp, a lot less with Slot. Slot seems to keep the ball a lot more. But I think for what the requirements of the Premier League are, I think it's a little bit more suited to winning the Prem. I think Slot's approach is a little bit more suited to winning the Prem. And that being said, I think we are on for an insane title race this season because City looks in great shape. Arsenal are controlling games phenomenally. Forget about what happened against Villa because Arsenal controlled most of that game, and Liverpool are controlling games in a really stifling. I think stifling is the key word there. The other team don't seem to get quality chances. They don't seem to even touch the ball for more than 20 minutes out of the 90, and that is truly suffocating to play against. So I have high hopes for Liverpool, high hopes for Slot. I really, really like the system. I really do.
Nice. Who are the next set? Brandon.
Yeah,
No, we went everybody. Right. Brandon, Real Madrid.
Oh, yeah. So I just want to get us on all three way. Mark this down on all the calendars. Next game for Real Madrid, Mbappe will score a hat trick. I can
Oh.
guarantee you, Mbappe
Yeah,
will score a
probably.
hat trick because
Probably.
there's no reason for him to look so bad in the first two games. And I think Real still having this adjustment period, and they thought he was going to kick on immediately, but he's going to score. He is really, really, really going to score. He's going to score 3 next game. And just want to say big up Endrick. That was a very good finish. Very good.
Fantastic finish.
Yeah. Well done to Bobby Charlton's biggest fan.
Man.
So
Bobby.
yeah.
Also,
And you know what's the best thing, boy?
Yeah,
That goal look real good in black and white. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. For
It
sure.
did.
Classic.
Next up, Bayern Munich. Virgil, the
Bayern.
old boy company there.
Yeah, honestly, I'm very happy to see they get a win. But yeah, so I'll definitely say Bayern just doing Bayern things, and I feel like every time with Bayern, you feel like you have something to worry about. Bayern would always find a way to steady their own ship, and I feel like I don't really feel there's anything to worry about at this point. All that was worried until Muller came on and then shift the tide. But honestly, I'll just say Bayern is Bayern in the Bundesliga, but there's still this big iceberg that is Xavi Alonso.
Fair enough. Speaking of Xabi Alonso, Gil never losing seems to be back.
Witchcraft. That is nothing but witchcraft, bro. There's no way you could tell me that keep on happening. Any manner it happening as well. No. Because it's not like one time.
It's not even like Kofi wins. It's not even like Kofi wins. Is right?
Bro,
They have to come from behind.
I don't understand it. And all these things, like, I keep on seeing clips of them coming up 101 minutes. Like, why are you scoring? Why are you getting so much time all the time? Why are you scoring goals in them all the time? That's not normal.
Hey, fair enough. Last one I'll ask all it before I put in one. Daniel, Barca won this weekend. Somebody also said Pedri was arguably man of the match of the weekend.
No, Pedri played well. In all fairness, the best, my biggest takeaway from that game is this is 2 games in a row that Lewandowski has clutched it, and we are in uncharted waters right now, bro. So Lord alone knows what is going to happen. We might win the league. We might genuinely win the league now that Lewandowski is finally back to being somewhat of a game winner, So yeah, man, that was my takeaway from this weekend and last weekend. Yeah, let's go. Vamos.
For me, the 2 quick hits I had is 3 actually. all in Syria is that Inter look to be ready to defend their title. AC look nowhere close to even winning the title, and Juventus are going to shock people in Europe. I actually watched part of the game
Yeah,
today.
about
They were
that for sure.
fantastic. They were so good. It's extremely confusing how this tactic actually works because you would think they should be extremely exposed, but yet they're not. And it was
Bro,
fantastic. Vlahovic was fantastic again, and yeah, I think Juventus going to shock some people in Europe. So we're going to the kill. Say it fast. We're going
bro,
on a
it's
break
so
now.
confusing. It's so confusing the way, especially like how far the
Bro,
mirrors is split.
the
It makes sense.
midfield split like the Red Sea, and then Bremer and Gatti was in midfield. Like, that makes no sense. But yet, it was all good. All right, guys,
True.
cool. So, we're going to take a short break now, and we'll be back with one player we think each team should sign. So, don't go anywhere. This usually means like 15 seconds. Well, have 15 seconds about PL come back, and we'll see how it is now. So, yeah.